there's been a worshipping community on this site since the 8th century, and a monastic community here since the 11th century. We're in a 12th century room now. Some people call this the oldest boardroom in the county. This would have been the space, the chapter house, in which the monks did their business, and the vestibule where you're having lunch, the gathering space just outside. It really is lovely for us to welcome you here. The Melanesian link means so much to this diocese and to our cathedral, and it's something we really seek to cement in the years to come. So delighted. I think it's been 7 years since you were last here for a meeting like this. It's great to have you back. Perhaps I could say a prayer at the start of our meeting. Loving Lord, we thank you for the fellowship we can share with your church around the world, and especially for the fellowship that many of us in the UK have with the church in Melanesia through UK. We thank you particularly for 37 years of relationship with the Diocese of Chester. And pray your blessing upon our meeting now and upon our fellowship, that by your Spirit you'll guide our thoughts, our words, and our dealings with one another throughout the day. For your name's sake. Amen.
Thank you very much, Dean Tim. Thank you for your welcome and for the kind hospitality of you and your colleagues in Chester Cathedral. It's really good to be here for this event. We were thinking, is it the 35th anniversary, or is it the 30th or 37th? We thought it was celebrating 35 official years of the link with Chester, but we'll no doubt hear about that later from John and others when we have our festival. But welcome everybody. Thank you for making the effort and the time to be here for this important occasion. Particular welcome to Brother Christopher John, our Minister General of the Franciscans worldwide. Thank you for being here from Australia. I was just looking where you are. You haven't just flown in for this meeting now, have you? There's one or two others. But thank you for being here with us today. Also to brothers Warwick and Francis, coming from Solomon. Welcome to you. Is Warwick around? Where is he? He gone AWOL. We lost Warwick, not Alison. Okay, well, we'll find him later. Anyway, welcome to you. Thank you for being with us also from the Franciscan community from Utambu on Solomon Island on Guadalcanal. To Sister Catherine, Sisters of the Church. There's Sister Catherine, thank you, all the way up from Gerrard's Cross. And Sisters Hazel and Louise from Sisters of the Way up in West Kirby. Not Sisters of Jesus Way, of course, that way, not any other way. Okay, that's good to know. And all of you have come from other places. Ella, all the way from East Ham, and those of you come from across the country. Welcome to our annual general meeting. We tried to do this in a sort of a quick way because we're trying to get to the Eucharist for 11:45 to be sat down. So if everybody's aware of that, we can then begin. So you should have do you have? Yes, you do. So you've got the agenda in front of you. Apologies, Katie.
Thank you. In advance of the meeting, I've received apologies from David and Margaret Salt, Alex Legere, Rachel Carnegie, Dave Friswell, trustees Catherine Duce and trustee Jackie Wise, Sarah Crompton, Lydia Cook, Simon Franklin, Sam Rylands, Angela Crockett, Esther and Bishop Michael Langrish, Beth Glover, Chris and Elaine Liley, Sue Williams, Kate Edmonds, Alan John Masters, my parents, they're looking after the cat, sorry about that, Steve Martin, Bishop Nigel Stock, Wendy Doldig, Sue Abraham, Moira Massey, Brian and Helen Barrett, Tammy Noah, Peter Mills, Liz Mills is joining us for the Eucharist. I hope the rest of you have all signed in on your member sheet so you can vote in the AGM, and questionnaires back by lunchtime, please.
Thank you. There's obviously a lot of people didn't make it to Chester, but good that they sent their apologies. And please, yes, do use this questionnaire. It'd be very helpful for us. Hate filling out questionnaires. Please do it if you can. So we now come to item 3, the presentation and adoption of our accounts, our annual report. Steve.
Good morning, everybody. Lovely to see you all here. We come to look at the finances for the year to March 2023. Year ended 23 was really the first year when we were able to start operating something like normally. And I think a highlight for us was the meeting of the bishops post Lambeth down in London. More of that anon. Our income increased slightly during the year. As ever, we rely on our investments to fund most of our charitable work. Our investment income went up slightly to £113,000. Donations and legacies from our supporters went up £7,000. Unrestricted donations were down £6,000. Unrestricted donations are donations we can use for any of our charitable purposes. Restricted donations went up by £13,000. £11,000 of which was to go to St Patrick's, Vanuatu. Our expenditure is up there on the screen. Grant funding was down £17,000 on the year. In the year to 2022, as we were still in lockdown, we used lots of our funding to make extra donations to ACOM and to the religious orders. And you can see there that we made some £23,000 of grant in the year to 2022, including £10,000 to COVID funding and £33,000 to the religious communities. Our restricted grants went up by £15,000, and as I said on the previous sheet, there's £11,000 to St Patrick's, Vanuatu. Overall, before our valuation of investments, we had a small deficit of just under £3,000. Our income valuation of our investments go up and down year on year. In the year to 2022, we saw £300,000 worth of increase. In the year to 2023, £200,000 worth of decrease. Since then, it's gone up a little bit. And carrying forward, we have some £3,471,000 in our unrestricted funds, which sounds an awful lot of money, but if we look at this sheet, we'll see that £3.5 million of that is our valuation of our investments, which we can't sell, because if we did, we would lose our £113,000 worth of investment income and wouldn't be able to do as much as we do. We have some £72,000 left in our general fund, and we spent some £19,000 hosting the bishops after Lambeth and in helping towards the cost of their visit to the Lambeth conference. The trustees have decided that we should start saving for the next Lambeth conference now, and you'll see that we have some £3,000 now in the Lambeth 2022 designated fund, which we will build year on year until the next conference, so that we will have money to support the bishop's visits to the next conference without having to cut grants in that year to religious orders or the church out there. That was a quick highlight of the accounts for last year. Those of you who have read the full accounts may have picked up some typos in the trustees' report, which will be corrected before we send them off to Companies House and the Charity Commission. So thank you for those who have pointed some of those amendments that are needed out. So I'll pause there and ask if there's any questions.
Yes, any questions for Steve about the accounts? So can I have a proposal and a seconder to adopt the accounts, please? Proposed by Sister Catherine, seconded by John. Those in favour? Any against? All in favour? Thank you very much.
Thank you. The next thing we need to do is appoint the independent examiner for next year's accounts. We're using Westcott's, and as Treasurer I'd like to propose that we continue to use Westcott's based in Barnstaple.
Okay, thank you. Proposed by John Freeman, seconded by Alison Sparrow. Thank you. Those in favour? Good. Any against? Right. Thank you very much. And Steve, can I thank you for your work as our Treasurer, for your very good stewardship and oversight of the Melanesian funds for Melanesian Mission UK. Really appreciate your work. Thank you. A lot of the stuff that's coming up we're going to be able to discuss in a free away in our festival in the afternoon, so from 2 till 4, that's when we'll have more interaction and engagement. This is the more formal part, as you know, of our gathering. So now, item 5, to approve the minutes of the 2022 AGM. I think that was done online, if I remember, on All Saints' Day. So you should have a copy of those or seen sight of them. Can we sign them as a true and accurate record of what took place? Who remembers 9 months ago? Our general eye, right, good, thank you. Any matters arising from those minutes that anybody wants to raise? Okay, thank you very much. And at this point I just want to say thank you to our executive officer, Katie. Katie's going to speak to us later because she had a visit, but she's been doing some marvellous work again, particularly at the end of the pandemic, and making sure we engage with our friends in ACOM and that we're more organised. And I just want to put it on record, our appreciation for your excellent work as our executive officer. Thank you, Katie. Bless you. So now item 6, re-election and election of trustees, as proposed by the trustees of UK. So am I doing these on a job lot, or do we have to do them individually? First two as a job lot. So, okay. So the Archdeacon, Venerable Dr. Mike Gilbertson, as trustee and vice chair for 3 years, is the proposed appointment. And Reverend Canon Jane Brooke, a trustee for 1 year. That's not because she's done anything wrong, it's just that she only wants to serve for 1 more year. Is that right, Jane? Okay, she retires at Christmas, but carries on till... you're not retiring from here for Christmas, though? No, from UK. Just from the cathedral. You're with us till next September. Okay. All right, so those two proposals, Mike and Jane, proposed by Bishop Willie, seconded by... Barbara Molyneux. Those in favour? Any against? Any abstentions? Jane? Mike? No, okay. Congratulations and thank you for being willing to serve. Really appreciate that. We've got a new trustee joining us, Colin Butler, who couldn't be with us today. Was the head teacher at Fennerton, been very involved. Oh, there he is. Okay. You may have had a bit of paper from him outlining his interests and his concerns. So we would like to propose that Colin becomes a trustee for 3 years. Well, I'll propose that. Who will second it? John Pinder. Those in favour? Any against? No. Okay, thank you. And finally, there's a vacancy for trustee for fundraising. We've had this vacancy now for 2 years. Maybe God's trying to tell us something, not to worry about the money, it'll just come. But if there is anybody, if you know of anybody who's got skill in how we can raise funds, particularly for projects, it's when we want to respond to projects in some way, please give them a nudge, ask them to be in touch. Or if there's anyone here now who feels prodded or gets prodded during the Eucharist, please come and speak to us, because we do have another vacancy that we want to fill at some time. Anybody got any comments about that? Okay. Gosh, we can start the communion early, can't we? Maybe not. Before we move on, there's one of our trustees is retiring this year. We've eventually let him go. He's been trying to get out for years, but Martin Cox, where is Martin? Can't see. Oh, there he's sat at the back. Who's been a trustee now for 14 years and is ready to step back. And you may have read in his e-news recently, he said, "I'm the bloke from Stoke." That sort of, oh my goodness, sorry. It's my son, Sam. He should be at this AGM, shouldn't he? Sorry, just a minute, let's just shut him up. Right. Martin, just wanted to say a few words. It's good to have you and Heather here today. And we're sad to see you step down, but we understand completely. Many of you know Martin became a trustee in 2009, but he's been associated with the Melanesian Church since 2004. Martin visited Solomon just after the ethnic tension, and he'd only been priested, I think, 5 weeks, and he was preaching in St. Barnabas Cathedral in Honiara in front of 1,100 people. I think it scared the pants off you, didn't it? But anyway, it's been a very interesting ministry you've had, and we've been very appreciative of what you've been able to give this link in particular. This bloke from Stoke has gone far. In 2005, I know you were helping Tony and Alison prepare for the 2005 mission to Chester, and I was at the other end of that down in Exeter at that time. And as a trustee, also Martin was instrumental in preparing for the Simply Living mission in 2012 that many of you remember, which led to the Round Table Conference and the education project in Blackburn Diocese. And I know you also visited Solomon in 2012 to prepare for that visit. Didn't you get arrested or something, or beaten up? Something like that. I think he got beaten up in the process and bundled off to hospital? Yes. All for the love of them MUK. Well done. And Martin has also attended the ACOM General Synod in 2014. So he's had a long association with Melanesia and been very important to the strength of our friendships. He's been part of the tide of friendship between our two churches, keeping our relationships strong, emphasizing the importance of human contact. And I think as chair, I'm particularly grateful for Martin's presence, his humanity, his warmth, his enjoyment of us actually just being together. Sometimes we get together, oh, blooming meeting. Martin, not so. Glad to be together. What will happen with us being here? And for his engagement in meetings, especially when faced with difficulties and problems that are hard to overcome. Martin's common sense and his humility and willingness to put his hand up to help, I very much appreciated as chair. Particularly Martin's been a confident guide for us when discerning strategic objectives and then seeing how to implement them. So Martin, I've really valued your expertise and your calm and methodical thinking, which has often helped us to steer through choppy waters and murky weather. But thank you very much for your friendship and all that you've given to UK. I want to just finish by reading out a letter that the General Secretary of Melanesia, Dr. Abraham, has written. And you will get this letter, Martin, because actually he's written it to you. Dear Martin, on behalf of Archbishop Leonard, members of the Council of Bishops, and all members of the AGM in Vanuatu, New Caledonia and Solomon Islands, I write to convey our most sincere appreciation and to acknowledge your tremendous services to AGM over the last 14 years as a trustee of UK. And I understand you'll be formally stepping down as a trustee at this AGM this Saturday. Your association with and experience of Melanesian went farther back when you first made your visit in 2004. Those of us here in Melanesia are privileged that people like yourself and other trustees over the years have taken the trouble, often with some personal risk, to visit us here in Melanesia, as we just heard, with its harsh conditions, to continue growing that special link between our churches and people. As you formally relinquish your trusteeship with the UK, the AGM, the Anglican Church of Melanesia, would like to sincerely thank you for your services as a trustee, but also as a friend of the church over many years. We trust you will continue to be of service to our friendship in some ways. Yeah, you never get out of this. We know where you live. We can find you. One of the tasks that we're currently doing together, says Dr. Abraham, is developing the church's strategic plan for the next 5 years. We hope we can continue to work on this beyond your retirement as a trustee. May we wish you God's abundant blessing as you continue to serve him. With our blessings, Abraham. The leadership of the Anglican Church of Melanesia has greatly appreciated you, your dedicated service, your friendship, and your kind help. And so do we. Thank you very much, Martin. And just to further embarrass you, if you and Heather would like to come up to the front, we just got a small presentation to make. And a card just filled in, just miraculously. Anyway, thank you for everything that you've done. Thank you very much indeed. Do you want to say anything? You don't have to.
I'm just a bloke from Stoke, and it's been a great privilege to be a part of UK as a trustee, and as Dr. Abraham said in his very kind and generous letter, I will be continuing to support that development of the strategic document going forward. We had a further Zoom last Tuesday evening, and I think Abraham and I will be having one in the next month or so. So thank you very much for your generosity and your very kind words.
Thank you, Martin. So that brings us towards the end of the annual general meeting. Just to say, next year, we're in Bath. So do come to another Roman city, isn't it? There we are. We only like Roman cities. So come to Bath if you can. Jackie Wise will be our host, who can't be with us today. She's done her ankle in. But she'll be hosting us at the Chapel of St Michael's, St John's Foundation, Bath, Saturday the 21st of September 2024. You'll all be very, very welcome. So now we've got some time, haven't we? Space and time to either just enjoy the environments of the cathedral. Our Eucharist starts at 12 noon. Sorry, yeah, Jane's saying the cathedral choir's that way. Don't walk that way. That's where the canons live. So yes, walk that way into the choir. So our Eucharist starts at 12, and then our festival. We'll have lunch together in the chapter house, and then we start here promptly, please, at 2 for our festival, and we hear from the brothers and others who've been working in Melanesia. Sam, can I just say also, it's very good to have you here today, the Bishop of Stockport, Sam Corley, who hopefully is going to be associated with the trustees and our work more closely. We really appreciate you giving your time to be with us today, you and Julie. Okay, bless you. Right, you're free.
Right, can you sign the minutes? I'll switch